They told us to give a disclaimer. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the podcasters, any guests, and do not reflect any of the management, owners, sponsorships, or employees of thereof. Pretty much, if you're soft, don't listen to this podcast.
One thing I pride myself on is just being the same and trying to look out for my folks along the way.
Like, even with all these, big things happening, like, you still mad humble, and you still, like, you have enough clout now where you could easily be like, I'm not fucking with this, I'm not fucking with that.
Oh yeah, motherfuckers, it's on. Unrestricted Podcast listeners, thank you so much for clicking play. Because of you, those numbers are going up, up, and up. And as you know, we are now on Patreon. So a lot of the juicy content that you get in these episodes are on Patreon first, and then YouTube and everybody else gets it second. Why? Because they're paying. They're helping fund this thing. It's not free to have a studio. It's not free to have subscription services. It's not free. So if you want to help support, you can go on to patreon.com/Dre Rocka. It's free to subscribe, and then I have different tiers, and based on the different tiers, you get different content. So if you want to do that, you definitely can. But hey, if you want to just show some free love, just like, share, comment, subscribe to this thing. Today, I got a very special guest across from me. This is my sister from a different mister, in many different lights. I mean, we have chapters in each other's books, and
yes,
and I think that's really, really dope. And Lexa's in the building.
What up, guys?
Oh, hold on, I got something really cool on the screen for you. People at home can't see this, but you will be able to. So look at that.
Hey.
Got your name on the marquee. You're a marquee here on the podcast.
I'll have to take a picture of that because you were just a finesse in here in the studio.
The new host of the Not to Be Dramatic podcast.
Yes.
You started your podcast.
Finally, huh? We talked about this like years ago when we first met, and I made up every excuse in the book. I think it's like an ego thing, right? I wanted this. I want the lights and the camera and the action and a photographer and the nice expensive mics. I feel like if I didn't have that, I wouldn't feel like I was ready enough to do it. So I just finally got it done, and I'm stoked about it. And it was like $150 for everything.
Yeah. A lot of people see the production levels on people's podcasts or people's YouTube shows, and they're like, I need that. And they don't realize that a lot of those creators started off in their bedroom. I started off in my bedroom. I started off on one mic. I started off when it was just me in a corner in the room, and I would have to have my wife leave the house to get the kids out the house for 45 minutes out of the day.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people think that you need all these big things. No, you don't, and you're proof of that right now.
Yeah, I'm stoked, and I'm just glad I finally bit the bullet. I will talk myself in circles of never, ever doing it. And I think I held like a lot of weight on turning 30. And I was like, okay, I'm only getting older now. Like if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And so that was a big thing. Bought like those clip-on mics, bought a tapestry for the wall. And I was like, let me just film in my bed and let's get it going.
It's comfortable. It's you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's you. This first episode, I got a chance to listen to it or watch it on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, she's figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I love how you gave us. If you haven't checked it out, just search. Is it your name? It's just your name right now, right?
NTB Dramatic on YouTube, and it's the same anywhere, like any single social media platform: Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
I just found out about Blue Sky.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's similar to these other apps, but less hectic, I guess you could say.
So the current you started the podcast, but I want to rewind just a little bit. Last time you were here, you're a year into your sobriety. We are now approaching year 2. How's sobriety going?
It's going. It was good. I think the first year, we had said earlier, I don't even think I was my whole 1 year in there. I think maybe 7, 8, 9 months. So I still had that pink cloud, they call it when you get sober, like where everything's rainbows and sunshine. And I'm just like, it's great. And my life's going to be incredible. And I found like the magic cure for my horrible feelings, and sobriety is going to be great. And that's all I could talk about was like the great upsides. And then year 2, literally the day of me celebrating like my full 1 year of sobriety, so much happened. And that really kicked off the pinnacle of my 2nd year of sobriety, which has kicked my butt and just thrown me through a whirlwind. And it really tested my sobriety and my mental. And there wasn't a whole lot of things where I was like let me go drive to a liquor store. Let me go get a beer. It wasn't really that, but it was more so me questioning everything that I had really ever known and how to work through my emotions without getting messed up over them. Because one for me is too much, but once I have one, like I can never enough type of thing. So yeah, second year's been kicking my butt, but it's been good and it's been realistic for me. And I think that was also part of me for getting my podcast was like, okay, I'm secure with who I am now. I'm more comfortable in my own skin because I think year one, again, I was really still kind of jittery and riding on the wave of like, I have my people and life's great and it's all going to be rainbows and butterflies from here on out. So it's been tough, but it's been good. 2024 was a whirlwind for me. It was a really hard year. I am essentially starting from scratch, materialistic wise, job wise, just everything. So
yeah, you ended up going to Hawaii for like what, a week?
A
month?
week. Yeah, man, a week. I mean, day one, the night I celebrated my 1 year of sobriety, our radio job released me from my contract, so I lost that income. The day before that, I lost my salary job. They were like restructuring the company, and I was like, oh, so I'm unemployed now. Took me months and months to get a job, 5-6 months, and I'd never gone without a job for that long. I mean, my resume I always thought was pretty top tier. I could get a job within like a week or two, and that was kind of the longest. And then more in my personal life happened where I would have had to share my son out of state, or I could go to Hawaii. And so I sold all my belongings, my home of like 7 years. Sold most of it because you can ship some of it later on. But I mean, you're shipping it to an island. It's not like I'm going to New York on the other side of the country where I can like take a U-Haul. I'm crossing an ocean. So that was a big like healing experience because I came home a week later with a backpack, 2 suitcases, and then I had some stuff I left in storage. But I mean, that was it. And that was everything I'd worked for all my 20s because I'd been in that same house since I was like 22. And so that was tough.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you even sell the snake?
I did. I rehomed both my snakes because you can't bring them to the island. And so that was another thing. I mean, snakes, purchasing them alone are expensive, but getting them all their equipment is another like couple $100 per snake. And I had 2. So I had my dog, luckily, and she was great and healthy, and she was with my parents. But I came home nothing, homeless, jobless, and had basically nothing. I mean, I was in a circumstance worse than I feel like I did when I moved out for the first time. So
it was a lot to take in. Obviously I'm not in your shoes, right? But you put us in your shoes because you brought us along this journey on your social media.
Yeah.
So there was roller coaster rides of excitement, of disappointment, of hurt. There was a lot of these different emotions that I felt when you would post and you would tell us your story.
Yeah.
So having you here today to see where you are today, rebuilding, you know.
Yeah.
One thing that I've always appreciated about you, and I've always told you, is that like you're a great example for your son. Like you're an example of like determination, of like we're gonna get through this. Yeah. Even when you were. I mean, we had a conversation, and you were so down. You were,
Before I got sober, I was telling you I wanted to get sober. And I don't think anyone understood how horrific I was like bullying myself. So yeah. I remember that phone call. Oh my God. And I was just crying on the phone.
It was tough. And I told you, I was like, you're gonna be fine. This is good.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be these dark times, but you're gonna be good.
Yeah.
History repeats itself. You're gonna have. That's why I always try to. I emphasize to people is that we can't ride this high all the time. We can't always ride this high on life. I don't care if you have the best paying job, family's all healthy, everything's great, right?
Yeah.
You can't ride this super high because as soon as that high is there, the pendulum's gonna swing the other way, and you're gonna hit this low mark. and then you're gonna hit another up, tick, tick, tick. You're gonna get high again.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth. And I think, listen, like I knew that. It's not like I had this easy peasy cookie cutter childhood of just comfort and just stress free. Like I've been living in fight or flight my whole life. I'm very comfortable in that. I think part of why I was struggling so much when I was starting to tell people a lot early on that I wanted to get sober was because it was me trying to explain how bad it really was, but not really ready to explain like how much I was really suffering. And not even really with the drinking, but just like mental. Talk to you, I talked to Bang, I talked to E-Rock, like everybody that I felt like I could kind of lean on. More wisdom, right? You guys have raised kids and been through it all and different types of like economic circumstances. So, and I'm the oldest. I have I'm the first gen immigrant. So like I'm helping my dad out learn these things. I don't really have anybody to look back on to kind of seek that advice. So I think part of the struggle for me too was like, let me get a bunch of information from everybody that I appreciate and care about. And then when I'm talking to you guys, they're like, you're fine. Like, you're good. And I mean, I respect it and I get it because I'm really good at hiding it. But mentally, I was just so down and out. And I was scared that I wasn't going to pull myself out of it because I had been constantly in that like fight or flight mode that I was just so exhausted. And I think I, again, held a lot of weight on turning 30 for some reason because I really didn't picture like a future. It wasn't like on some taking myself out of this earth type of thing, but it was like I didn't have the comfort of dreaming. I didn't picture a 30-year-old version of me. So as I kept getting closer to that and we are going through a pandemic and everyone around me is kind of struggling, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just never gonna know what comfort feels like. And that's all I really have craved my whole life is some sense of security and like comfortability where it's kind of staying stagnant and plateauing. But then again, this is where my mental comes in. I get bored and I kind of create the chaos because that's all I'm used to is kind of that chaoticness. So it was kind of this up and down in the last 2 years and being sober of learning to be comfortable with the boring because the boring's healthy. But I've just never really truly known what that was because I just went from one spectrum of chaos to the other and just like never in the middle. And I think I'm finally kind of in the middle. But like you said, who knows, 2 years from now, I might be going through it again. But
No, you won't.
I have new tools now to kind of talk myself into some sense of stability. Whereas before, it was so much easier for me to just go get a bottle and drink about it and not even think about everything else for a couple hours until I'm like passed out. So
how in your sobriety, what do you learn as far as because I've never been through like the steps. Do you go like through the steps and like the sponsor?
Through AA, you mean? So I did. I haven't gone to AA in about 6-7 months. I'd say probably around the summertime of last year. I kind of stopped going because I'm trying some other things out. But I did. I went through all the steps. I got a sponsor. I was a sponsor. I read the big book. I attended all the meetings. And that part is really, it was beautiful for me. I just am still... I'm always going to question things. I'm not really one to really buy into anything. And I'll go out, make mistakes. I might go back. Who knows? I'm not 100% against it. It's what got me sober. But I think there's so many ways that are great to get sober. And AA is just one of them. But a lot of people use a lot of different ways. So...
Yeah, I've never been to a class. I've always heard about the steps. You see the tokens that you get and whatnot. And I think it's cool to have like a community of people that are doing similar things. Yeah,
well, you need that. I mean, if you're really struggling with addiction, they always say the opposite of addiction is connection. You need that community because a lot of people don't have anybody. And if you do, you feel alone, right? Like musicians always talk about, I'm a room full of people and I feel so alone. And you really need that community to help you get sober. I think it's really hard to do it by yourself because, I mean, you've been doing it by yourself forever. If you thought you could do it by yourself, you would have just stopped. And I think there's an anomaly out there. Some people sure might do it, or they might like take hallucinogens or mushrooms or do like summit mountains and stuff, and that might work for them. But I think for most people, most human people, like the human race is what's going to bring you together. And a lot of people lack that.
Is that where did your love for, I don't even know if you want to call it love, but where did this hobby for running come from? The passion for running?
A lot of people in there are runners. I think a lot of people that have been through a lot mentally will start running and get into like more higher extreme sports because you got to get something to do with yourself. Like you're going to start fidgeting and you kind of, especially the first year, I started coloring. I started listening to gospel music. I was doing yoga, meditating. Like I was trying to find everything to keep myself busy because you spend so much time, like at 20 minutes of alone time in your house. When you first start, like the first year, I feel like you were just talking to yourself and I was pacing back and forth and driving myself crazy. So I started running because it's free. I mean, it turns into a more expensive sport when you really get into it. Like I got expensive shoes now and all this stuff for my marathon, but first out, I mean, you can put on some Nikes and go run around the block and nobody's going to stop you. And you can put in headphones and track your miles on your phone. There's a million free apps. So, I mean, it's a free activity and hobby that you can do by yourself and it's going to keep you busy. So that's why I got into it because everyone was talking about it. And I'm like, I hate running. I don't even think I like it now.
That's why I said, I don't know if you like
but
it.
I do it because it's good for me and it's something that gets me out of my head. Or if like I am going through something, I'll go run 10, 12 miles and just work myself through it, listen to a good album that I like and just kind of work through it. Because when I'm done, I'm good. You know, I have all those endorphins running through my body. Because, I mean, I've been going to the gym since I was 16. Like, I'm athletic. I got to build. Yeah. I know how to lift weights. But even that wasn't doing it for me. It was so repetitive. So I had to do something new.
You, when you mentioned that you need the chaos in your life, I instantly went to, is running the chaos in your life now?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Definitely, because it's dedication too, but injuries. I mean, I've messed up both my knees and legs from my childhood from just soccer and sports and being reckless. So now I have to really watch my body, watch my food, watch how I even talk to myself, because I'll talk myself out of a run. But the minute I'm outside and I have my gear on, my shoes that I didn't want to buy, but I need them so I can run forever and have all my goo and all that money spent, I'm like, okay, let's go. And it's really hard to not run once you finally step outside. So it's a new chaos, but it's a good one, right? And I think everyone can overdo it. And it's just about a balance and moderation. And I'm on a break right now, so I can finally really get into my training. But I needed rest a little bit because I got like a gnarly shin splint on my right leg just because I've been going too hard. And I got sick. I just got over like a 2-week sinus infection that
like
really...
You're always sick.
I mean, I got a kid.
I got 3.
Yeah. And I just don't think I have a good immune system. I've been super sick since I was a kid.
Have you been taking your vitamins?
Yeah, I take them all, Okay. And I'm usually okay, but I mean, this weather outside, that fog, I think that fog really messed me up, being out in that junk. So,
are you still up in this area up north?
I'm in Clearfield.
Okay. Was the fog super thick a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was bad. But then I was driving into the city, and that was so scary. I was like, oh, I'm playing like GTA or something because I can't see a thing.
Yeah, right here next to the refinery, you couldn't see nothing.
Nothing. Downtown was bad. Like, I couldn't see in front of my face in the car.
Ooh.
And so I was going slow, and I had my brights on, and I'm just like praying to a God I don't believe in. I don't know. I was going through it. I was taking myself to church because I just don't want to. I could get really hurt if I got hit by a car because I'm so short and I'm like this close to the steering wheel. So I was testing my life.
You scare me, though, when you be posting your running videos. I'm like, this chick got her headphones in. She's on a path that there's nobody else on.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be careful.
When I did my half marathon, that trail was making me scared. Yeah, but I shared my location. Like, all my coworkers had it.
Yeah, but what they going to do? Where's your coworkers at?
Just find my body at least. Bring me home. But no, I'm careful. Sometimes on my runs I'll bring my gun, but my gun's too big, and I also am trying to just be self-aware.
Damn, that was little dick energy that you just gave off right now.
What?
My gun's too big.
It is. I mean, look at my hand.
I'll just get a little.
I have a big one though. I have a Glock, and so it's
Glock what? 19?
A Glock 93.
Just go get a Glock 13.
Or 43, sorry.
Just go get a Glock 13. It'll be perfect for your hand. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I need to get a smaller one for sure. Because right now, I mean, I like it. I like my Glock, but I need a smaller one.
Yeah, you got to be careful out there.
I will. My
wife watched too many mysterious cases of murders.
Well, I'm in a running group on Facebook, and there's so many women that are just getting harassed just running, and I'm like, gosh. But I'm a woman. I'm used to it. This is the environment I grew up in. I get in the car, lock the door, have my keys in my hand, ready to go when I'm leaving the grocery store. So.
And you guys have it bad, but at the same time, it's like, who knows? You might meet the love of your life on that trail. He might bump into you. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there.
Maybe. I don't know.
So I want to go back to Hawaii. What was the Hawaii experience? Obviously, it didn't turn out the way we wanted, but what was the Hawaii experience like?
Yeah, for the parts I can say, because I signed a contract and there's some things I can't say just custody-wise.
Gotcha.
And just also a respect thing. Yeah. It was beautiful. I'd never been to Hawaii. I've been on planes, obviously, before, but never to the island. So beautiful because for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a minority. Mm-hmm. And I was going to all the local stores and everyone, they were talking to me in, what is it?
Pidgin?
Yeah, Pidgin. And everyone around me looked like me. And it was the most incredible feeling. The only other time I felt like that was when I went to Peru. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could be here forever. Not only because it's Hawaii, but like the comfortability of finally not being a minority. And white people were the minority. Yeah. And I was like, this is great. I could get a job so easily. I got like all these retail people just telling me how pretty and beautiful I am. And I'm like, this is so nice. I get those compliments here, but not that often. Yeah. And I was there a week and that's all I ever heard. And I was like, this is great. I love it. And I ran there, and running with that kind of like sea level was so great.
Was it hard? Was it hard? Did
yeah,
you feel like you were always
for
out of breath?
sure. But also it's really hilly. And like at the time, what was that? 8-9 months ago, I was still really trying to work on the endurance thing. Yeah. Because for me, I'm not trying to be the fastest. I'm just trying to get it done. Mm-hmm. But it was stunning. So great. And the warmth and the humidity, I crave that a lot. I need to live in a state where it's not so dry.
Florida.
I know.
But Florida's crazy.
I'm down to try. I need to get out of the Utah bubble. I like it here, but I would love to try.
With the custody thing?
When he's 18, I can, yeah.
Oh, you got some years.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush. Yeah. I do like it here. I think I'm starting to appreciate it more. But, when it's all you kind of need a different path. And I've never lived out of Utah, so.
What was the most surprising thing about Hawaii that you didn't expect? When you got there, you were like, "Oh shit, this is different." Other than people looking like you and being nice to you, was it the food? Was it the animal life? Was it the insects?
It just felt like a different version of a home that I'd never had. Like it just felt more like home, just because of how the people, like the culture there, is so welcoming and loving and respectful, and it felt way like more holy. I know Utah, people that aren't from here are like, Utah's so like spiritual. Like you just feel something when you get here. I don't really feel that. And maybe it's because I'm not the demographic they're aiming for.
Well, you're also an atheist.
Well, that's changed. We'll talk about that. That's all changed a little bit, but I don't feel that as much as I did there. I think when you're around, it's just the people. I think the people really was the biggest thing for me. I'm not used to it, and I loved it, and I crave that feeling. Same when I was in Peru. Like, it felt like home.
How was it meeting your Peruvian family out there?
So great. I'm gonna keep going back. Yeah, we're gonna keep going. My father wants to be there maybe 6 months or a year, and then flip flop, and it was the best feeling. The humidity there was like 72%. The food was incredible, and I just felt rich because the currency there to the American dollar is like nothing. Really? So, yeah, I brought $200 and I fed my family myself multiple times, went shopping, did all these activities because it's just, they're so poor there. Yeah. The currency's just so different.
They're not on the peso?
No, they're soles.
Oh.
The peso is the Mexican currency.
Is that Mexican only? Pesos only Mexican?
I think so, yeah. Theirs is sole. Okay. I think even Brazil's different. Maybe.
See, I always thought just South America was all peso.
No, yeah, soles. And it's cheaper than even the peso, I think.
Wow.
Like lower on the financial ground. But, I felt rich. I was like, this is great.
So you got to meet your family, your distant family. You got to try the food. I seen you in the traditional gown.
Yeah.
You look like Asher had a blast.
Yeah. 1 week was not nearly enough, but we had to do with what we could.
What stateside were you on?
We were in Lima, so that's where my family is, and then we went up to the village. It's about an hour and a half from the Lima airport, and they live in a small village up there. So
how was that? How was living village life?
Incredible. Just incredible, because I mean, my family, it's common for everybody to just live with each other there. And I felt so much love, and I had never met my tias or any family member, none of my cousins. And for the first time, I was like, oh, we're all crying at the airport. I'm stinky and sweaty. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I need a shower. But it was great, but it was just eye-opening. It made me feel a lot of gratitude for the life I have back here. No hot showers. You kind of just got to take what they have. We all drink breakfast or eat breakfast together, drink their coffee. That proven coffee is like incredible. But just also the love and connection. Like they've only ever seen pictures of me for the last 30 years. So it was great to just kind of see how they're just all so close and loving. And I have cousins in the jungle, the Amazon, all around. So I'm going to keep going back and try and stay as long as I can, because there's a whole other part of me that I've missed out on. And so it was a really, really healing part for me. And that was like the best highlight of last year, considering everything else that went on. But I'm so glad I did it. And I have to go back, and I'll be going back soon. My dad wants to get his citizenship and then just stay there for like a year on, year off, because he's almost retired. So
now on the podcast, you mentioned that one of your biggest insecurities was not knowing Spanish.
Yeah.
Are you going to take it more serious to learn it, so when you go back, you can actually converse with family?
Well, you know what's crazy is it came back. Like, I speak a little bit. I can read it way more than I can speak it, because I was fluent until I was 7 or 8. And then when you don't use it, you lose it, right? Yeah. And I just wasn't around it enough to continue using it constantly. So when I was out there, you pick up on it a lot quicker. But I mean, yeah, I think I'm always going to work on it. Even if I knew it fluently, my accent is nothing like somebody that was raised speaking it consistently. Yeah. So I feel a lot of judgment from people, just like on my own accent of how I speak it. And I think that's something I'll just kind of always deal with my life. But what can you do, right? I mean, I'm an adult now, so I can't blame my parents anymore for it. I could have learned 10 years ago. And I took like 3 years of Spanish and did all that, but I just am not confident enough in using it consistently. So that's something I got to work on.
I'm in the same shoes. Like but I wasn't fluent at all. So it's like I'm starting off ground one, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know what's so crazy? Spanish really is an easy language to learn. It's not like English, where we have 3 words for the same, like this same pronunciation, but they mean 3 different things. And my father's trilingual. So I don't know why it's so hard for me to just pick up on it. Maybe it's because I'm not in that much of a desperation to use it. Like, I can live a life without using it, but like, my father obviously didn't have a choice, so he speaks Portuguese, Spanish, and English.
Damn.
Yeah. And I don't know how he does it.
You mentioned that you're no longer atheist. What happened there? What's going on with your faith?
I think just with AA and more of my sobriety, part of AA is just having like a higher power. And when you go into AA, that's like the big thing. The first thing is just saying that you are agreeing that you are powerless to alcohol, and the second or third or whatever is on the list is to find some sense of higher power, and that's what's going to get you sober, something other than yourself. Because I think for me at least, and a lot of other people that I know and talk to, addiction is a really egocentric disease. I want to go as far as saying it's very narcissistic, but I mean, in a way it is. It's about yourself. You're thinking about yourself, what you can do for yourself, how to get better. You're very much just inward of self. So what's the opposite of that? Thinking of somebody else other than yourself to help you, find you, take care of you. But a lot of issues now, especially in Utah, is a lot of us grew up with religion. We're not afraid of it. It's not like it's an unknown thing. It's not like we've never heard of God or Jesus or any other religion. So that was really hard, because for me, I've got a lot of problems with organized religion. So going into that, and I talked to a lot of people from the jump, my first time talking, being like, I don't know. I think we talked about this last time, but I was like, I don't know what God you're talking about, but he's never done me any good because look at me now. I'm in an AA room at 28 years old. And so that was a big wake-up call, and it's just more so very spiritual. I think for me, I would just say spiritual, and I think I always kind of was, to be honest. It was more so just me being uncomfortable even using the word God and finding any sort of comfort in it. I'd say maybe in my mid-20s I was very like hardcore atheist, but now I think and forever will be just more spiritual, and I'm okay just not knowing and not having all the answers. Maybe there is a God and a Jesus, cool, or maybe it's like all the hundreds of other gods that other cultures and ethnicities believe in. I'm fine with either one, and I'm just not going to worry about it. And that's what keeps me good and feeling safe and comfortable and feeling secure. In AA, a lot of it for me was just praying to like my ancestors and feeling that connection. And it was healing for me, a lot of like my inner child work of like, I am a part of a bigger picture. It's not just me. I'm not special in my pain or longing to feel connection to maybe families that I'm not knowing or don't know. And I think that was also a big part in Peru, is they're all religious there, but it was not the feeling that I felt here or even in America. It was very connecting and loving on a much different level. So when I came home, I took that kind of with me, and it was just so nice to kind of feel that change, because I don't want to feel how I was feeling before. It wasn't doing me any good. So we'll see.
Are you sick of podcasts that just interview people with the same questions and gossiping nonsense?
Are you tired of hearing about what's wrong with the world? Can you locate your nearest orphanage?
Who cooked the Last Supper?
R.I.P. Mr. Potato Head.
Seppuku Harakiri.
Where is Mavis Beacon?
This is Hos.
And this is host Beefy.
Listen to the Beans and Rice podcast.
Exclusively in Braille and all streaming platforms.
Patent pending.
No pukesters helping me to the left, and no pukesters helping me to the right. Didn't need 'em then, don't need 'em now. You are the ex-champion bullet.
Now this is the way, Tony and David, that you do the figure four leg lock.
You love wrestling.
Do you believe that Stone Cold Steve Austin is the greatest entertainer of all time?
Or maybe that Shawn Michaels is the sexiest man alive.
Or did you have a thing for Sonny from the years of 1994 to 1996 like I did?
Did you know Yokozuna isn't even Japanese?
If you could count the number of dimples on Rikishi's ass, this podcast is for you.
Follow us, the Figure 4 Podcast on Instagram, at Figure4 Podcast. And check us out on YouTube.
Do it.
Tell your punk ass friends about us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start a cult.
Whoa. Don't do that. I'm watching the final chapter of the Natalia Grace show. Have you seen this? Have you heard about her story, Natalia Grace?
No, what is that?
So Natalia Grace was a young girl from Russia or Ukraine. I forget which country. And she was born with a condition. It's like dwarfism, but there was there's a different word for it.
Okay.
And her parents in where she's originally from, they gave her a better life in America. So they shipped her off here, adopted her, or, gave her for adoption.
Mm-hmm.
And an American family adopted her. And the story is that the birth certificate was lied. The age on the birth certificate was lied. So she was a lot older than what the birth certificate said. It said that this girl was 8 years old and she started to grow pubic hair. And she started to...
Wait, I think I've seen this, and they thought they adopted an adult.
Yes.
Okay.
And turns out like she was... There's a back and forth where the parents, the adopting parents would like say she tried to kill them. Like they would wake up and she'd have a knife at the end, like a real Chucky story.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And this girl gets adopted over and over, and
just different families.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just different families.
Well, no wonder she's messed up. Nobody will pick her.
Well, that's what I thought. And so a family that's loving and caring, another Dorf family, is getting used by her. Allegedly, this is what they're saying, is that she's using them to funnel money to another family.
Wow.
Like it's a whole story, and I forgot
True
why.
crime will bring you down so many rabbit holes and have you going ballistic.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the religion part of it, and the cult part of it is that the final family was a religious family that only had 10 members in their congregation, and it comes out that these people started a whole cult, and it was all just a money scheme.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they all are.
So
it's
don't
so
start a
easy
cult.
to fall for it. No, I'm definitely not.
No, let's start here.
Not that organized.
Let's stay here. Let's stay here with the cult thing. If you were to
Yeah.
start a cult, what would your cult? What would it be? Would it be religious, or what kind of cult would you have?
Oh, I don't know. Menaces to society, right? Some anarchy. Probably that. That's where I'm going mentally with the people around me and just like the political climate. Like, let's go and get something done and change history, or at least have some good impact to benefit everybody else.
Just rage against the machine.
Yeah. But I've had that mentality since I was a kid, I think.
It all started with selling Xanax.
Or Adderall, yeah.
Or Adderall.
Yeah.
Find out more on her podcast.
Yeah. Full episode on YouTube, how I committed a felony in high school.
Not to be dramatic. Sponsored
Yeah.
by Doritos Locos new nacho cheese fries from Taco Bell.
And this NOS that I keep drinking.
She brought in a NOS, and I was like, "How many caffeine milligrams is that?" She's like, 400.
Yeah.
God damn.
I know. That's why I run so much. I got to get it out of my system. But I can't help it. Coffee sometimes isn't enough. So, and it messes with my stomach.
Oh yeah. I used to have this stomach issue with coffee, but now I do it every day, so it's like it's good.
Yeah, well, I just got a coffee machine for my birthday, like a K-Pod,
Yep.
whatever thing. So we'll see. I'll try that out.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I love it. You just pop it in real quick.
Well, I have them at my job, but I just never thought to like go buy one because for me, energy drinks are quicker, but they're not good for you, and I know they're not. So
You're loving this new gig, huh?
my job,
Yeah.
well,
Don't
that's-
say where it's at, but But
it's just in property management, which is so different. I've always worked in law and trying to help people the legal route. But when you do it for like a decade, you get so burnt out. And I don't have any ambition to go be a lawyer or start some nonprofit in that aspect.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bitter towards it. So this is nice. It's fun. It's different. It's good for the general public. I'm a good talker, so it's benefited me financially.
Yeah.
I was able pretty quick to like rebuild my home, get furniture, all that stuff. So sales I knew I've always been good at. It's just the product of whatever I'm trying to push that I'm like, I can't get behind. But everyone needs a home, and I feel good about giving somebody a home. So
there was a prank war that you showed on Instagram.
Oh, with my coworker.
I was like, geez, you guys
It
need to
was
get out of
full.
hand.
Well, we've just been busy. It's been the last few months. We're driving ourselves crazy, just walking around in circles. Nobody's coming in. There's not much to do. It'll pick up now that the holidays are over, but you got to do something to fill your time.
Mm-hmm. You're filling your time with this podcast. A lot more that you're gonna be giving us in your life. I love that you're giving us little breadcrumbs. You're like, oh, we're gonna talk about that on a later episode.
Yeah.
One thing that you did mention is the relationship side of your life.
Yeah.
Is Lexa single? You
I've
dating?
been single.
Okay. How's the
and
dating
I've been
life?
dating. I think for 2025, I'm for sure my new detox is just the dating apps. It's not working. I don't think it'll ever work for me. And I just need to go back into a mindset where dating isn't even a priority on my table. That was kind of what I was going through my first year of sobriety. But then I get bored.
Yeah.
I want something to do, but then I'm only dating because I'm bored. And when you're not fulfilling that need of action and admiration that I want, I'll just leave. And that's not any way to treat anybody. And I know that, but I mean, what can you do? I'm only human, and I have been single most of my adult life. And so I'm used to living alone. But it's also me trying to figure out what I want. I don't want a man living in my house.
Or woman.
Or a woman, yeah. I don't want either or in my home bothering me. But when I'm sick or I've had a long day at work, I want somebody there to ask me how my day is that isn't a coworker or a friend or my son or anybody. I want somebody that's more on like an intimate level to care. But I'm working on that because I don't think I'm at a good healthy place right now where I'm willing to be that vulnerable. I'm very guarded in a lot of the ways, which is insane because every other aspect in my life, I'm not. I'm an open book. You ask me anything, I just met you and I'll tell you because I don't have shame in that. But there's a big uncomfortability when it comes to the dating aspect because I've just been through so much in that portion that I'm not willing to risk it. I don't think the risk is worth the reward right now. And also the options suck. So
where are you looking on the dating apps?
Well, the dating apps, but like I'm in running groups or people that I meet at like my job or something. Like that's always fun. I'm a big flirt. I love to flirt. I love talking with people, guys and girls. Trying to date girls here in Utah is hard because I think again, it's an ego thing. I like girls that look like me. Jeez. But I'm one in a million, babes. Jeez. There's not a lot of people that look like me here. And I'm not a lot of girls types, and that's fine.
You're so toxic.
But I know. So I am working on it. But no, I think I'll try dating again when I think maybe I'm in a better place to offer more and be willing to let myself be loved. And I'm a huge hypocrite because I tell all my friends, there's nothing wrong with letting yourself be loved. Just experience that. But I don't think maybe ever or for a really long time, another 10 years maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say it's that long. I would love to be married and build a life. I don't think life is meant to be done alone. It's not like I'm anti-man, I'm anti-marriage or relationship. I think your life is meant to be shared. Mm-hmm. But to some degree, I mean, and with certain political things, I don't feel comfortable risking my livelihood just for the chance to maybe have a good, healthy relationship or a partner. And I don't know where I feel about that. So we'll work on that. I'm going to keep deciding if it's worth it. And who knows, if I meet somebody that makes me feel that way, then sure. But I haven't met anybody like that.
Okay. Maybe the right one will come. God
Sure.
help that person when they do, because you are a handful.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I know who I am and what I'm bringing. You're never going to be bored.
Yeah.
But it's like I also am trying to really still struggle. I struggle with the back and forth of like what I would want. Because in my early 20s, it was the reckless, the crazy, I
think you think too much.
Well, obviously. Hence why I'm an alcoholic in recovery, right? I will think myself into any sort of thing and just I'll just go. That's why I wanted the podcast so I can finally verbalize what's going on inside my head. Because I can't sit down and like write on a notepad in a diary. Like that doesn't do it for me. I get over things by talking about them and working through them with my community and my people. Yeah. And that's just how I get over it. That's how I've always done it. So it'll be good to kind of put it online because I don't got any shame. Like anything you say about me, I've already said about myself 100 times over. And so we'll see. Maybe that will bring me people, but I'm okay also if it's not. I think deep down I really know that I'm not ready.
The way that you talk about your 20s leading into your 30s and you felt like it was like, the way that you explained it to me, it felt like there was a countdown for you and it was very much like an eager countdown for you. I want to see how this countdown to 40 is going to be.
Me too. I'm excited. I mean, I've done a lot in my 20s. I've lived a whole life. I could write a book about my life up until 29 and it would be this thick. Mm-hmm. I think for me, also the big countdown too was I just wanted a lot of milestones done before I hit that age. Yeah. Because I also think I started looking in the mirror, like truly looking in the mirror and seeing myself and being like, oh shit, I'm aging. I can see it in my eyes. I can see it in my face. And like, I still look incredibly young. I don't think I look 30, but just physically, like the true, raw, authentic, I look in my eyes and I'm like, oh, I'm not 21 anymore. And that was big for me. That was huge.
Your knees crack a little more louder.
They do. My back hurts more. I can't be staying up super late and then waking up and going to work. Like, that'll just kill me. Yeah. And so I think a lot of that was me finally realizing, like, oh, this isn't going to be. I thought maybe I was invincible. I don't know. So we'll see. I'm stoked. I got a lot done in my 20s, a lot of dreams I accomplished. So I know I can do them all. But I think sobriety will be a bigger thing of leading me there. And we'll see.
You're talking about it all on your podcast, so make sure you subscribe to our podcast. Let's talk about radio a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is right. If you want more of this conversation, you got to head on over to patreon.com/Dre Rocka. Go support. Go be a part of the Patreon. Become a patron. Yeah, back to the show.
I mean, I even tried to get a radio job in Hawaii, and I had talked to the, who is it? The Red and White iHeartRadio.
Oh, yeah.
Because that one's accredited nationwide.
Yeah, it's a nationwide radio station.
And so I applied for the Hawaiian one out there, and I was going to go meet with them, but I left after a week.
Yeah.
So that I was going to try that and do that, but I just think I got to a point where I was like, I just got to do stuff myself where I have the control, because I don't think I'm ever going to be happy. And in some respect, it's really not my choice to go in and try and change everything, because, I mean, what power do I have? But also, like, if that's how they want to run their business, that's their prerogative. And who am I to be the Miss Know-It-All and think I know what's best and to change it? I can give it my opinion and my value and my experience of the people and my love for music, but it's also kind of not my place, and I'm not really that hungry for justice in the radio world. Like, I just don't care as much.
Yeah. So the way I look at it, and I've always looked this way, even before I was up there, is that they need talent more than talent needs them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, where they're investing their money in talent, they don't have it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but hey, they're gonna do their thing.
Because they want a yacht and a car and a vacation, and why pay the people,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a tell as old as time. That's capitalism for you, right?
Yeah. So. That's why we stay with the people and we tell our truth and we move forward, which you move forward with the Not to Be Dramatic podcast, available everywhere now. What should we expect from this podcast? How often? And the kind of content that you're going to be giving us?
The how often thing, I'm still deciding. I don't know if I want to do it every week or twice a month until I can dedicate more time, because I also don't want to burn myself out and make it already feel like a job. I know that's something that happens. It is a job, and it is going to have to take so much of my life. But right now, I kind of want to just enjoy the fragility of just not having too intensive commitments yet until I'm ready. I don't know, but I would say at least twice a month. I'm going to try to film every other week. I think a big thing for me is to film twice a week, every other week when my son's gone. And then I have those episodes out there. And then just as for what to expect, I think just a little bit of everything. My life, my childhood growing up, things I've done and messed up on, things I want to do. I want to have people on. I know so many people that have done so many different jobs, so many different backgrounds. I just want to create a space where, because for me, I'm a visual podcaster. I like to watch people sit down and talk. I don't connect as much when I'm just listening to it. So I want to have people sit down and just be themselves, sit in my bed, put on a mic, and we just sit and talk like we're at a dinner table about our life and our experiences. I think 2-3 years ago, I wanted to name it like Fingerprint or something, because I'm like, every human has a fingerprint, and that's genius. But it just didn't hit right. It's called Not to Be Dramatic because for me, the way I tell stories kind of seems a little dramatic. It seems a little bit out there. It's eccentric because of just who I am as a person and the way I talk. It all kind of seems a little too much, too good to be true type of thing.
Yeah.
And I say that all the time. I'm like, not to be dramatic, but this is it. And then I just go on a whole rant. And so I was like, that's perfect for me. I like the acronyms for it, the NTB. I put that there because for me, I'm thinking bigger picture, right? Like T-shirts and stuff like that. I'm like, that looks sick.
Yeah.
And it has like a symbolism to it for one day if I wanted people to buy stuff like that people would see what that is, and it's not just a random quote on a T-shirt. Like, you look at that, you know what it is. The red and black is just my two favorite colors, so that was kind of gonna happen no matter what. And then we'll see what goes from there. I mean, it's a podcast, and it's something that I think the industry is getting into way more. I think people are getting sick of even streaming services. And I think YouTube has been the one platform that's standed the test of time, right? Because we're losing TikTok, maybe, probably, most likely. Before that, we had Vine. Before that, we had MySpace. And now we have all these other social media platforms that kind of mimic each other. But YouTube is one in a million. And YouTube is the one platform that's given everyday people with average day jobs or no job or any kind of background a voice to speak and say what they want to say. And, of course, they still have restrictions and censorship and things that you're not supposed to say or do. But for the most part, you can really do and say whatever you want. And I think the uproar and like celebrity people sitting down and having podcasts is a wake-up call and should be for the general public that all anybody wants is their own human connection with people because they want the chance to have the power for their own voice. And they want to be the ones that can sit down and be like, you're not going to tell me what you think about me. Let me say what I'm going to say first, and then you can have your opinion. And you just got to be open enough to the criticism that's going to come along with it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun, and I'm stoked to see how much I heal from it and laugh through it and maybe cry. Who knows? I'm trying not to get too emotional right away because I've got obviously so much I could say, but then I'm just differentiating of when that time will be right. But we've got a lot to get done. So let's do it now. And time is of the essence in the sense that like I wasn't getting any younger, so I needed to just do it.
That's right. And I think that's a great way for any creator. You don't need the big studio. You don't need the nicest camera. You don't need the nicest mic. You have a microphone on your phone. Like you don't need anything. All you need is yourself and great content and consistency.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is that just like running, you haven't ran in a while. That first run is going to be tough when you get back.
But necessary, exactly. Like time and balance. Me not running for 2-3 weeks is so I can heal and so I don't break something because I'm running 26 miles in a couple months. Like finding that balance will be good for me as well. But also it's just like a creative outlet. Like I don't find joy really coloring, but I sure as hell did that for like 7 months of getting sober because I didn't know what else to do. Yeah. People tell you, find a creative outlet. And I had the radio job, but when that left, I was like left to my own devices of what I'm supposed to do creative and like artistic wise. And that's why I got a podcast, right? I can't dance worth a damn. We've all seen that on my social media. I can't rap. I don't have bars. Like I can maybe write a poem, but like you can't do that over a sick beat and it's going to happen. My singing voice is fine, but I'm never going to win a Grammy over that. So like all I've got is my voice, my experiences, and my joy, and that's what I'm going to do with it.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Where can we follow it? Where can we catch the show?
NTB Dramatic is now streaming on YouTube. I got to figure out the Apple and Spotify stuff. But then NTB Dramatic is on every single social media platform. Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky. And I think that's it,
you
right?
Haven't jumped to Lemonade yet?
No, I had Lemonade a year ago.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of like Pinterest, and I'm not a Pinterest girly. So we'll see with that. But I mean, it's nice that's how I know it's good. And this is what it was meant to be called because I have the social handle on every platform, which that I was scared. I was worried. I was like, please don't have this. I don't know why anybody would, but it's the exact same on everything. So for me, that was kind of like an epiphany of, I meant to have it.
I love it. I think you have a cool image for it too. Like, not to be dramatic, but yet you're fucking got the face mask on. You got your fucking robot. I'm like, this chick's so dramatic.
I am. And then that's why it's called that because to my core, I'm a dramatic person. I have strong, heavy feelings and opinions. I've never been one, other than maybe my first year of sobriety, I've never been one to really shy away from being obnoxious or loud or opinionated. I don't think I will ever be that person. I'm going to be an 80-year-old walking around being a menace because that's just who I am. So the name fit perfectly, and I'm just stoked to see where it goes. And I'm glad you had me on. I've missed you.
Yeah, anytime you want to come by, be a co-host on it. If you want to sit down with somebody, you're more than welcome to come up. this is what it's about, man. You got friends that are doing new cool things. You got to have them on to come talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
So go check out Not to Be Dramatic with Lexa. She's going to keep you guys informed on all the things in her life and give you some good pointers. One thing you said that was profound on your podcast is that you wish you had this when you were younger.
Yeah.
So now you're that opportunity for somebody else.
I needed somebody like me 10 years ago.
So now you're able to be that for somebody else. So
Definitely.
That's really
This
dope.
new generation, Gen Alpha, is going to shock the world. It's my son's generation.
I thought it was I thought it was beta.
So they're after Alpha. So my son's 10.
Oh,
His
okay.
generation is Generation Alpha. The babies that were born this year are Generation Beta. But Gen Alpha is the up and coming. I mean, we got Gen Z. They're almost as old, like generationally, as millennials are. Yeah. So I'm stoked to see what they bring to the world. And it's going to be fun. The podcast is not going to be just me. It's going to be a little bit of everybody. A little bit of Utah. Utah's really coming up on the map. We've got so many reality shows now in Utah. So
yeah, it's disgusting. Oh, speaking of reality shows, did you tune into Squid Game too?
I haven't seen it yet. Okay. No, I think I'm a little bitter on the Squid Game thing.
I know. If you don't know, she was in the Squid Game's first ever TV show, game show on Netflix. So
yeah, well, I think allegedly they're doing another one. I got an email about auditions.
Well,
and my casting agent wanted me to audition, and I'm like, I'm cool, dude.
Did you audition for the Beast Games?
No, I have homies, though, that did, and they got really far, and they've been sending me pictures.
It looks way funner than the Squid Game one.
I don't know. Okay, the thing is with Mr. Beast, though, and I've got a pickle to pick with him, and we can do that on another episode. From what my homies are telling me that I met when we did Squid Games, like, girls weren't getting, like, tampons, man, and they're, like, bleeding through their clothes, and they're not getting their medication that they're supposed to have because it's his name, but he's not budgeting it. It was Amazon. So, like, it's Amazon's production, and so they've been telling me some crazy stories, and I don't know. I mean, Netflix didn't give us the princess treatment. I wasn't really expecting it, but, I mean, and Mr. Beast was just as big. The cast was so big still. So I don't know. We'll see. I guess check that out if that's what you want to do with your time.
The truth will come out. I mean, what happened after the Squid Game TV show came out? A lot of negative press came out right after.
Yeah. I mean, they had negative press while we were filming. The problem was we all signed NDAs and couldn't talk about it. So
when does that expire?
That's a great question. I'll have to look at my contract.
I want to, because that might be an episode for what you can't say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then talk about what you can now.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see and talk to other people that had different experiences. Because for me, honestly, it was okay. Yeah. It was nothing too crazy. The leading up to it was what was crazy more for me. The filming so much, I kind of expected it. But I had known that Netflix reality shows weren't giving their cast the best treatments, just from like Love is Blind and all those other ones that I was seeing like lawsuits come out of it, but that was kind of the risk I took. I kind of knew.
You got it eliminated on red light, green light, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh my God. I never want to go through that again. Because I kid you not, that was the one thing I had said to myself. I can get through fire, bugs, dirt, starving. I'll be good. But you put me in a cold room and I'm done. And that was the first one. And I was shivering by the time we even started filming.
Red light.
Yeah.
Look, you would have got shot.
Nah, it was so bad. And I could have stood there for hours. Yeah. I would have been fine with that. The one thing I'm not good at is the cold. Like, I'm fine with extreme heat, bugs. Don't feed me for 2 days. Like, I've been there, done that. I've done that to myself.
Yeah.
But cold, like, it does something to my body and my back and my whole, like, mental that I'm just like, I'm going to die. And so when that happened, I was like, dang.
All right. Well, go check out her podcast. Appreciate you coming on, Lexa.
Thanks for having me, Dre.
Absolutely. If you want to help support this show, make sure you go on to allrock.com, ALLRAWK.com. Buy a shirt, buy a hoodie. Lexa Tyler says she don't like the cold, so if you want to bundle up with a nice hoodie, I got you covered. Again, allrock.com. If you don't want to support monetarily, well, you can share, like, comment, subscribe. And if you want more juiciness, I think the radio talk half of this interview will be on Patreon. So patrons, you'll get that first. If you want more juicy content, more of the conversations that they're not getting on YouTube, make sure you go on to patreon.com/DreRocka. That's DRERAWKA. I am also telling my full story on how I came into radio and why I left radio, and some juicy details about people in radio that aren't who they say they really are. So if you want to learn more about that, again, patreon.com/DreRocka. Have the day you deserve. Always protect your light. We're out. Peace. Sometimes you got to like be. So my dang MacBook screen went out. So I'm waiting for the park to get that fixed. So I'm like using this as my monitor right now.
I mean, it works.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, we're good.
It's
we're
something.
Good now. Yeah, but when you hit record again on your mic and you shared that video, I was like, I've been there before.
Yeah, I was so bummed out because I spent 3 hours to get ready for that podcast. Did my hair, my makeup, everything. A deep shower, like somebody's going to even notice.
Act like you did a lot. You put on a robe.
I know, but my hair and makeup alone will take me 3 hours. Like if I want it to be meticulous.
Okay.
And then the lighting of where my phone was too had a shadow. So you just see these dark circles like I'm a mummy and haven't slept in a century. And I was like, a secret blessing. That's why my actual first episode, that's out. I'm just in a mask and my hair's up. And I was like, I don't care.
Not just any mask. Diaper cream mask. I didn't know this.
Diaper rash cream, you guys.